The first mistake is believing that comfort is neutral. It is not. Comfort trains you. Every time you run from difficulty, the body learns that the difficult thing is bigger than you. Every time you obey the craving, delay the task, avoid the conversation, skip the standard, or choose ease, after promising yourself something better, the inner command gets weaker. The damage may not be visible immediately. That is why it is dangerous. A man can lose authority over himself slowly and still look normal from the outside. He still goes to work, still replies to messages, still jokes with people, still speaks about goals, yet a quieter part of him knows he is becoming less trustworthy to himself. The pain he avoids does not disappear. It returns later as shame, regret, weakness, dependence, and the ugly feeling of meeting another year with the same unfinished life in his hands. A serious life asks a brutal question: which kind of suffering will you choose? Not whether you will suffer. That option was never on the table. A man who refuses the strain of training suffers inside a body that does not obey him. A man who refuses the discomfort of learning suffers the humiliation of being replaceable. Someone who avoids discipline with money suffers when freedom has a price he cannot pay. The person who refuses emotional honesty suffers through resentment, confusion, and relationships built on silence. Avoidance only changes the shape of the burden. It does not remove it. This is why a man must stop treating discomfort as an enemy and start judging it by what it produces. Some discomfort weakens you because it comes from disorder. Some discomfort strengthens you because it comes from construction. The wise man does not chase misery. He chooses the pain that purchases power. Human psychology is built to avoid immediate discomfort, even when the escape damages the future. The brain wants relief now because relief feels like safety. This ancient wiring kept people alive in harsh conditions. But in a world full of cheap pleasure and constant distraction, the same wiring can turn a man into a servant. The body says, eat what comforts you. The mind says, delay what frightens you. The ego says, protect the image instead of entering the arena. These signals feel personal, but they are often primitive alarms, trying to keep you close to familiar ground. Growth requires you to stop treating every unpleasant feeling as a warning from heaven. Sometimes discomfort is not danger. Sometimes it is simply the boundary between the current self and the stronger one. If you never cross that boundary, you remain protected from the very thing that could have rebuilt you. The Stoics understood this with a cold clarity. Modern life has tried to soften. They did not worship suffering like fools. They trained themselves to meet hardship before hardship chose the hour. Seneca practiced simplicity to remind himself that poverty could be survived. Epictetus, born into slavery, taught that a man's power begins with what he can command inside himself. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while reminding himself that comfort, praise, and ease could not be allowed to govern the soul. Their point was not to become emotionless statues. The point was mastery. A man who needs perfect conditions has handed the world too much authority. A man who can endure discomfort voluntarily becomes harder to threaten because he has already met a smaller version of the enemy in training. He knows hunger, silence, fatigue, rejection, discipline, and loss can rise without becoming kings. A man should not say, "Let me suffer," like a dramatic child begging for chaos. That is not strength. The phrase must be understood with precision. It means, if effort is the toll, I will pay. If patience is required, I will stop demanding instant proof. If loneliness comes with the season, I will not run back to weak company for warmth. If boredom guards the gate, I will stand in front of it until it moves. If sacrifice is necessary, I will not keep pretending every comfort deserves protection. This kind of suffering is chosen, directed, and attached to a mission. Random misery can make a man bitter. Chosen difficulty can make him clean. The difference is purpose. When hardship has no direction, it becomes a wound. When hardship serves a standard, it becomes training. The body understands payment better than the mind. It changes only when repeated demand forces adaptation. Muscles do not grow from intention. Endurance does not appear from admiration. A stronger back is built under load. A sharper mind is built through attention held when distraction starts calling. Discipline with money is built at the moment desire asks to spend and the future asks to be respected. Confidence is built when a man does what he said he would do, while nobody is there to reward him. This is why real growth feels insulting at first. It removes the fantasy that you can become powerful without being inconvenienced. The world has sold many people the lie that transformation should feel aligned, smooth, exciting, and gentle. Often it feels plain, repetitive, uncomfortable, and quiet. That does not mean it is wrong. It means the work has finally become real enough to shape you.
A dangerous shift happens when a man stops seeing discomfort as proof that he should quit. The hard day no longer becomes a verdict. The slow result no longer becomes a reason to panic. The lack of applause no longer becomes evidence that the effort is useless. He begins to understand that the price is collected long before the reward is announced. That makes him steady. He can stay when excitement leaves. He can repeat when progress is invisible. He can correct himself without collapsing into self-hatred. He can lose without turning the loss into identity. This is where many people fall away. They do not leave because the path is impossible. They leave because the path stops flattering them. A man who accepts the cost gains an advantage over every person still negotiating with discomfort. The practical command is not complicated. Choose the hardship that matches the life you claim to want. If the body is weak, stop worshipping comfort and train with discipline.